Have you ever wondered why you're your own worst critic? Why do we often judge ourselves more harshly than others? We've all experienced it, that nagging voice inside that keeps doubting and criticizing us. This voice, known as the inner critic, is something we all with, and it can have a significant impact on our mental well-being. The inner critic is like an unwelcome guest who overstays their welcome. It's the voice that tells you you're not good enough, that you can't achieve your dreams, or that you're bound to fail. What if you could silence that nagging voice of self-doubt? It's the voice that whispers discouraging words, casting shadows over your aspirations and dampening your spirits. The influence of this inner critic can be pervasive, seeping into every area of our lives. It can affect our self-esteem, our relationships, our work performance, and even our physical health. The power of negative self-talk should not be underestimated. It can hold us back from reaching our full potential, keeping us trapped in and self-sabotage. Do we listen to inner critic? Why do we let it dictate our actions and influence our thoughts? The truth is, our critic is rooted in our fears and insecurities. It's of our own self-doubt, our own belief that we are not enough. What if you could replace it with a voice of self-love and empowerment? And it's this belief that gives the inner critic its power. However, it's crucial to remember that the inner critic is not an accurate reflection of who we are or what we're capable of. It's merely a voice that we have to silence. Welcome to our journey of overcoming negative self-talk and embracing a positive inner dialogue. By recognizing and addressing our negative self-talk, we can take steps to challenge our inner critic, to change the narrative that's feeding us. The journey to overcoming negative self-talk isn't always easy. It requires self-awareness, patience, and a whole lot of self-love. But it's a journey worth embarking on. Because once we learn to silence our inner critic, once we learn to replace the negative with the positive, we unlock a whole new world of possibilities. Overcoming negative self-talk is a transformative journey, and it starts with understanding its nature. So let's delve deeper, let's uncover the roots of our inner critic, and let's start the journey towards silencing it once and for all. The first step in silencing our inner critic is recognizing its voice. Imagine strolling through the forest of your mind. Amid the rustling leaves and chirping birds, there's a voice that stands out. This voice isn't always your friend. It's the voice of your inner critic, and it often speaks in the language of negative self-talk. Negative self-talk comes in many forms, each as sly and deceptive as the other. One of the most common forms is personalizing. This is when you blame yourself for everything that goes wrong, even when it's not your fault. You're the star of your own tragic play, and all the world's misfortunes are your doing. Then there's magnifying, where you zero in on your mistakes and imperfections, blowing them out of proportion. Picture a magnifying glass focusing on a tiny speck, making it appear as a monstrous blemish. That's what you do to your faults when you're magnifying. Another prevalent form is catastrophizing. This is when you always expect the worst, turning molehills into mountains. A single negative event becomes a never-ending pattern of defeat. You're the fortune teller of doom, predicting only gloom and despair. Identifying these forms of negative self-talk in your own inner dialogue can be a challenge. It's like trying to pick out individual voices in a bustling crowd. But with conscious effort, you can learn to recognize them. Start by listening to your thoughts. When you catch yourself personalizing, remind yourself that you're not the center of every problem. When you're magnifying, remember that everyone has flaws, and they're often much smaller than they seem. And when you're catastrophizing, ask yourself if it's really as bad as you're making it out to be. Recognizing these patterns is like turning on a flashlight in a dark room. Suddenly, you can see what's been tripping you up. You begin to understand that these thoughts are not facts, but distortions of reality. Knowing the forms of negative self-talk empowers us to challenge our inner critic. Once you can spot these patterns, you're well on your way to silencing that nagging voice and fostering a more positive inner dialogue. And remember, the only voice that truly defines you is the one you choose to listen to. Once we've identified our inner critic, it's time to counteract its influence. The first weapon in our arsenal is positive affirmations. Picture them as uplifting notes you'd leave for yourself on a mirror, a reminder of your worth, potential, and the strength within you. These affirmations are intentional, powerful statements that help sow the seeds of positivity into the fertile soil of your mind. Imagine you're an artist, and your mind is a blank canvas. The words you speak to yourself are the colors you use to paint your reality. By consciously choosing positive affirmations, you fill your canvas with vibrant hues of self-belief, confidence, and resilience. However, crafting these affirmations is not just about positive words, it's about personal relevance. Connect these affirmations to your unique challenges and goals. For instance, if you're battling self-doubt, your affirmation might be, "I am capable and resilient." Repeat this mantra to yourself, especially during times when the inner critic is loud. Now, let's move to our second technique, cognitive restructuring. This is essentially a mental decluttering process. It's about identifying and challenging distorted thought patterns or cognitive distortions that our inner critic often uses to keep us in a state of self-doubt. Think of cognitive distortions as a funhouse mirror, distorting your self-perception with exaggerated, unrealistic reflections. Common distortions include all-or-nothing thinking, where you see things in black and white, and overgeneralization, where you perceive a single negative event as a never-ending pattern of defeat. Cognitive restructuring involves recognizing these distortions, challenging their validity, and replacing them with more balanced thoughts. It's like cleaning that distorted mirror and replacing it with a clear one that reflects your true self, not the warped image your inner critic wants you to see. So, positive affirmations are your empowering mantras that nurture self-belief and resilience. Cognitive restructuring is your tool for challenging and transforming distorted thought patterns. Together, they form a powerful duo to counteract the influence of your inner critic. By practicing positive affirmations and cognitive restructuring, we begin to reclaim control over our thoughts. Now let's explore cultivating mindfulness and self-compassion. While countering negative thoughts is crucial, so is cultivating positivity through mindfulness and self-compassion. In this journey to silence our inner critic, an essential step is to embrace mindfulness. Mindfulness, simply put, is being fully present in the moment, allowing us to observe our thoughts without judgment or reaction. It's like sitting on the riverbank, watching our thoughts flow by, rather than being swept along with the current. Practicing mindfulness can be as simple as focusing on your breath. When your mind begins to wander, gently bring your attention back to your breathing. This simple act helps interrupt the cycle of negative self-talk, grounding us in the present moment. Another effective mindfulness technique is the body scan. This involves mentally scanning your body from head to toe, noting sensations without trying to change anything. It's a powerful way to connect with your physical presence and divert your attention from the chatter of negative self-talk. Now let's talk about self-compassion. It's the gentle voice that says, "It's okay, you're human, and it's okay to make mistakes." It's about treating ourselves with the same kindness and understanding we'd extend to a dear friend. Self-compassion consists of three elements: self-kindness, common humanity, and mindfulness. Self-kindness is being gentle with ourselves when we stumble or fall. Common humanity reminds us that everyone experiences hardship. It's part of being human. And mindfulness, as we've already discussed, is about being present and aware without judgment. Practicing self-compassion can start with a simple exercise. Write down a mistake or failure that's been weighing on you. Then write a letter to yourself about it, as if you were a compassionate friend. Use kind and understanding words, acknowledging your feelings without judgment. Another exercise is to develop a self-compassion mantra, a set of phrases to repeat when you're feeling down. This could be something like, "This is a moment of suffering. Suffering is part of life. May I be kind to myself in this moment." Through mindfulness and self-compassion, we learn to treat ourselves with the kindness we deserve. Remember, you are your own best friend, and it's time to start treating yourself like one. With the tools we've discussed, we can start building a positive inner dialogue. When it comes to fostering positive self-talk, two key techniques can be particularly effective: self-reflection and gratitude. Self-reflection allows us to gain a deeper understanding of our thoughts and feelings, helping us identify patterns of negative self-talk we may not have been aware of. It's like turning on a flashlight in a dark room, revealing those hidden corners where our inner critic likes to lurk. To practice self-reflection, set aside some quiet time each day to simply sit with your thoughts. Ask yourself, what am I telling myself right now? Is it helpful? Is it true? This practice can help you spot the moments when your inner critic is taking the stage, giving you the opportunity to challenge and change those negative narratives. Now let's talk about gratitude. A gratitude practice can be a powerful antidote to negative self-talk. By consciously focusing on the things we appreciate in our lives, we can begin to shift our mindset from one of criticism and lack to one of appreciation and abundance. It's like watering a garden. The more we nourish the positive, the more it will grow and flourish, overshadowing the weeds of negativity. Try keeping a gratitude journal. writing down 3 things you're thankful for each day. They don't have to be big things. Sometimes, it's the small joys that can have the biggest impact on our mindset. Finally, visualization can be an incredibly powerful tool in our journey towards silencing our inner critic. By picturing a future where we've overcome negative self-talk, we're not just dreaming, we're creating a roadmap for our brains to follow. Imagine yourself standing tall, confident, and free from the tyranny of the inner critic. Feel the lightness, the freedom, the power. Hold this vision close and return to it often. With practice, we can replace our inner critic with a supportive and empowering inner voice. Now, isn't that a conversation worth having? As we wrap up, let's revisit the key strategies for overcoming negative self-talk. We started our journey by understanding the impact of the inner critic, that nagging voice that amplifies our doubts and fears, clouding our potential. Recognizing this voice is the first step. Like a sneaky shadow, it takes on many forms. It might manifest as limiting beliefs, harsh self-judgment, or constant comparison with others. Once we've identified the inner critic, we can start to challenge its narrative. This is where the power of positive affirmations comes into play. Think of affirmations as your personal cheerleaders, always ready to counteract the negative chatter with empowering, constructive messages. But it's not enough to simply swap negative thoughts with positive ones. We need to delve deeper, to the roots of our distorted thinking. Cognitive restructuring techniques help us do just that. They're like mental detective work, helping us uncover the truth hidden beneath our negative self-talk. As we untangle our thoughts, mindfulness and self-compassion become our guiding lights. They remind us to stay present, to observe our thoughts without judgment. With mindfulness, we learn to interrupt negative thought patterns. With self-compassion, we learn to treat ourselves with kindness, even when we stumble. Finally, we need to actively build a positive inner dialogue. This is where self-reflection and gratitude come into the picture. They help us appreciate our strengths, our progress, and the beauty of our journey. Visualization exercises, on the other hand, give us a glimpse of a future where the inner critic no longer holds power over us. These strategies hold the potential for transformative change. But remember, change doesn't happen overnight. It requires practice, consistency, and patience. So keep going, keep growing, and remember to be kind to yourself along the way. Remember, you have the power to change your inner dialogue. Here's to silencing the inner critic and embracing a positive self-talk narrative. Thank you for investing your time in watching this video. If you found the strategies and insights shared here valuable, please hit the like button and share it with others who might also find it helpful. It's through spreading these messages of positivity and self-compassion that we can collectively quieten our inner critics. And if you haven't already, do subscribe to our channel. We continually strive to provide content that empowers you with the tools to cultivate a healthier, more positive mindset. Remember, it's within your power to rewrite your inner dialogue. By silencing the inner critic, you're opening the door to a more confident, resilient, and joyful you. Here's to embracing a narrative of positive self-talk. Stay tuned for more, and remember, your journey towards self-improvement is a marathon, not a sprint. So keep going and keep growing. Above all, stay safe.